Alright, you guys, returning final to 3-4 left in the TBM 930. Hopefully I won't crash this plane. You know what, I'm going to go missed. In the real world you would do this. Good morning, you guys, and welcome back to Realty Rides and our first video of 2024 and our new sim room here. As you recall from the last few months, I've been trying to get back into aviation, into small airplanes, so that I can review planes for our channel. And for the last 4 weeks or so, I've been practicing on 4 airplanes because I'm trying to get into the training mode, I'm trying to get into a complex mode, I'm trying to get into the commercial corporate mode, and I'm also trying to get back into my seaplane float plane mode. So today I'm going to be showing you guys 4 different airplanes: the Cessna 172, the Beechcraft G36 Bonanza, the TBM 930, which is a high performance turboprop, and a beautiful 172 float plane here that we're going to show you how to fly and taxi and show you the fun factor of flying on water. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get to it. Yeah, guys, so I'm going to show you guys my new setup. A few months ago, if you recall, I had it in my office and my simulator down in another room down below, which was rather dark. This one is a lot more light and a lot more roomier. Here's the inspiration picture that I have. This is what's inspired me to get back into flying. Upper left is a float plane that I got my seaplane rating in. Upper right is the King Air airplane that I used to fly for a charter company. And in the middle are pictures of me getting my commercial license in a Piper Saratoga. And of course, my wife on the left-hand side is in front of a Gulfstream G3, another airplane that I'm hoping to fly at some point. So I want to practice and get myself current again on my nice little simulator setup. And right here, I have the perfect setup with the Logitech yoke, C-Tech yoke. I got my computer here to program things. I have the nice widescreen television to give me more of a visual. I've got the iPad here to practice instrument approaches, which, by the way, will come up in another video at some point. Right now, I'm going to just show you the 4 airplanes that I'm practicing on right now to get myself current. I also printed out a checklist of all the airplanes that I'm flying. Here's the Cessna 172 with the G1000. Nice little checklist you can get online. And then the additional option that I got are my Logitech rudder pedals. These rudder pedals, yeah, there's a mixed controversy online about them right now. They're a little bit squirrely. They constantly have to be adjusted with this wheel here in the middle. But overall, it gives you much more of an immersive feel when flying the airplane, especially when you're flying a complicated airplane like I've been doing with the Bonanza G36 and also the TBM 930, which is a turboprop. So overall, this is my new setup. I hope you guys are practicing too. Remember, a few months ago, we were saying that we were going to get back into flying, and I'm going to get back into flying, but I'm going to get current again with everything before I get back into a real airplane, so as not to waste a lot of money, spend a lot of money, and at the same time, be the most proficient, competent pilot I could possibly be by getting my act together with my little simulator. Alright, first airplane up is the Cessna 172 with the Garmin G1000 display. The Cessna 172 Skyhawk is an American 4-seat, single-engine, high-wing, fixed-wing aircraft made by the Cessna Aircraft Company. First flown in 1955, more 172s have been built than any other aircraft. It was developed from the 1948 Cessna 170, but with tricycle landing gear rather than the conventional landing gear. Along with its smaller sibling, the 152, the Cessna 172 is responsible for more pilots being trained in flying today than any other fixed-wing GA aircraft in its class. It's truly a well-proven product, reliable, fun to fly, and overall a very great airplane. Alright, the Cessna 172, the world's most popular airplane. Let's take it up for a little pattern flight around. We're going to climb to 2,000 feet, make a left crosswind departure, left downwind, back to 3-4 left, do a little takeoff and landing, just kind of show you what the Cessna 172 is all about. Here we go. Keep those rudder pedals nice and straight on the center line. You're going to rotate. Just gently take off. VX is 62 knots. VY is 75. Nose down a little bit. Alright, we're going to start our left turn to 250 degrees. So left crosswind departure, we're leveling off here. You can see why the Cessna 172 is one of the world's great trainer airplanes. You know, it's such a stable aircraft, relatively easy to fly, very reliable. You feel it builds confidence level once you start practicing in this plane a lot. You can do all sorts of different maneuvers. You feel confident. Small corrections. Okay, right on glide slope. Let's land right on the markers there, buddy. There we go. Power's all the way back. Still a little bit high. Nose down. There we go. And just let the airplane just kind of glide right onto the runway. There you go. Smooth. Smooth. Oops. Alright, let's get off this runway. Let's get on to the next airplane. Alright, second airplane is the G36 Bonanza. This is a complex plane, it's 300 horsepower, and it is a low-wing aircraft. The Beechcraft Bonanza is an American general aviation aircraft introduced in 1947 by Beech Aircraft Corporation. This six-seater complex single-engine aircraft is still being produced by Beechcraft and has been in continuous production longer than any other aircraft in history. More than 17,000 Bonanzas of all variants have been built, produced in both the distinctive V-tail and conventional tail configurations. Early conventional tail versions were marketed as the Debonair, and then later on designated as the popular A series to this day. So before we take off, I want to show you something interesting about this airplane here. If you're not already familiar with complex aircraft, I believe those are airplanes over 200 horsepower. And the Beechcraft G36 that we're flying today is 300 horsepower. And what it has, if you notice in the past, I wasn't able to use this blue lever here. This is the propeller lever, manifold pressure for the complicated variable for the constant speed prop that this airplane has. This is a 3-bladed Hartzell prop, and it is variable prop. But how it changes is with this lever here, with the amount of oil pressure that gets pumped into the actual I can't think of the name offhand. I'll have to just put that in the title above right now. But when you do a run up on these engines, which by the way I've not shown a run up on on our takeoffs on simulation because it's not really necessary. You'll do that in a real airplane, of course. But if you do a run up on this airplane here, you would apply 2,500 RPM. I got the brake on right now, by the way. And then you would pull the blue lever down and cycle the prop to pump oil into the propeller mechanism so that it's nice and lubricated. You can hear that sound? That's called cycling the prop, and that's what you do with complex aircraft. Then you bring the power all the way back, and of course you would do the magneto check too with the key and left magneto and the right magneto and such. But anyways, that's for another video. Right now I just want to show you, one of the differences between the complex plane and the simplified Cessna 172 that we just flew a second ago. So we're taxiing in position on runway 34 left in the Bonanza G36. Alright, so we're going to maintain runway heading, 700 feet left crosswind departure, then a left downwind back to 34 left to a maximum altitude. Actually, the pattern altitude here is 1800 feet, but we're going to go up to 2000 feet because it's just a nicer altitude to fly at. Okay, here we go. So mixture full forward, prop lever full forward, and the throttle as opposed to not to stress out the engine. Okay, keep that rudder nice and straight. And rotate. And gear up. Forgot to mention this is a retractable landing gear airplane also. Where are we heading? Totally different view than the high wing aircraft, where you're not able to see down below. But it has a better view. It has also a view of above better too. So it's a different type of airplane. Very powerful. This thing gets up to altitude really quickly, a lot faster than the 172. I'll be making a left crosswind departure here, and then a left downwind for a 34 left. We're almost at 2,000 feet. Okay, we're going to left turn to 160. Okay, we're on the left downwind, runway 34 left. We're right in the mid-span between Whidbey Island and Mukilteo, or actually the mainland of Everett, Washington. And we're turning on to final on for 34 left. Power back, have a notch of flaps. And I got the autopilot off, and nose down. A little bit to the left. A little more power. There we go. There we go. Nice and smooth. Small corrections again. I tried adjusting these rudder pedals. Hopefully this time it'll be a little bit better. We'll see. Power back. There we go. Okay, gas undercarriage mixture prop. The gear is down. 20 degrees of flaps. Power back a little bit more. Mixture's forward. Props full forward. Landing the G36 Bonanza. Alright. Looks like I'm kind of right on glide slope right here. Good, nice and stable. So this airplane has a don't sink AI voice. I'm not quite sure what that means. My speed is fine, so I have no idea what that is. It's one of those Microsoft anomalies, I think. But I'm not going to pay any attention to it because I'm just going to learn this thing. Power is back. Alright, well, that was a little bit of a bumpy landing, but sorry about that, you guys. So it looks like the rudder pedals are still a little bit squirrely. Alright, let's get off the runway here and let's get on to the next aircraft, which is the TBM 930. Alright, you guys, for our third airplane tonight, it is the TBM 930. This is a 850 horsepower turboprop jet prop airplane. It has a 5-bladed propeller. It also has reverse thrust. The propellers can be turned the other direction. But here's a little description of the TBM 930. Alright, next up is the TBM 930 High Performance Turboprop. The TBM 930 is the latest version of the world's fastest certified single-engine turboprop. The 930 comes standard with a truly integrated flight deck with Garmin's G3000 digital avionics suite, the first ever touchscreen controlled all-glass flight deck designed for the light turbine aircraft market. Enhanced safety features such as the electronic stability protection, the underspeed protection, and the emergency descent mode makes it the most advanced TBM ever and one of the fastest, luxurious, efficient, and sought-after cabin class turboprops today. We're going to taxi into position. Line up and wait, as they say. This airplane has an enormous amount of power. Again, it has a little bit of a lag when you first apply the throttle, or as they call it in this airplane, the power levers. Alright, the rudder pedals are still a little bit squirrely. Alright, so here we go. And there's no flaps needed for a takeoff on this airplane. So flaps are up. Apply power gently. Keep your nose on that center wheel, on that center line. Making sure it doesn't go into the red zone. And power pull back on the yoke. Airborne. Landing gear up. Maintain runway heading. Alright, so we're at 2,000 feet. This airplane got up to pattern altitude in the blink of an eye, so we're about ready to make our left crosswind departure to a heading of 250 degrees. So we're almost at the 45 over the Puget Sound here, in between Whidbey Island and Everett. I want to get just a little bit farther away, so I don't get too close when I make my left base leg turn. Now we're going to turn left, heading 160. This one requires that you stay way ahead of it at all times, and I'm by no means an expert in this plane. This is only the 4th time since that I've flown it. You don't technically need a type rating, but you definitely need to have training from the company in order to fly this thing. And I highly recommend you do. So we're on the left downwind for runway 34 left. We're going to go past a little bit past where I normally would make my left base. Do a little bit longer approach because this airplane's so much faster, and it requires a little bit more awareness to make sure that you get right on glide slope and right on the approach, and all the numbers relatively match. Okay guys, autopilot off, on approach, try not to get too high this time. Try to get down a little bit lower, nose down, not too low. Gas gear is down, flaps 20 degrees. Okay, I'm not going to see anything until I get on the ground. Wish me luck. Wow. Wasn't smooth. It's on the ground. That just shows you the difference between these three guys, you know. 172, the Bonanza, and this high performance turboprop, but I've not flown an actual TBM, so I really can't compare it. Alright, down to the next airplane, the float plane. Hopefully that'll be a little bit more fun and a little bit easier to fly than this thing. Alright you guys, welcome to our last airplane in our series of 4 planes. This happens to be a 172S on floats. And last but not least is the Cessna 172 float plane updated by the Reams Company. The R172K Hawk XP configuration features a fuel-injected Continental engine with 195 horsepower and a 2-bladed constant-speed propeller. The Hawk XP was capable of 131 knot cruise speed. Although the 172 was well accepted for use on floats, it was not a strong float plane, even with only 2 people on board. But now with the XP's extra power, it improves water takeoff performance dramatically and will be a much better solution for water operations. The 172 float plane is the perfect trainer for those that want to use their 172 or 182 as a dual-use plane for both land and water to optimize efficiency and increase the fun factor. And we are now floating on beautiful Lake Union here near downtown Seattle, right near the Space Needle. And I want to talk a little, before we take off, I want to talk to you a little bit about a float plane. A float plane is the best of both worlds as far as I'm concerned. You can do things with an airplane on floats that you can't do with a regular airplane. You can land in the middle of a lake like this, cut the power, cut the engine, and just float, open your door, and start fishing right off the pontoons. Alright you guys, welcome to our last airplane in our series of 4 planes. This happens to be a 172S on floats. And we are now floating on beautiful Lake Union here near downtown Seattle, right near the Space Needle. And I want to talk a little before we take off. I want to talk to you a little bit about a float plane. A float plane is the best of both worlds as far as I'm concerned. You can do things with an airplane on floats that you can't do with a regular airplane. You can land in the middle of a lake like this, cut the power, cut the engine, and just float. Open your door and start fishing right off the pontoons. But anyways, let me give you a couple of examples of what you can do with a seaplane here on Lake Washington. So first thing we're going to do is what's called step taxiing. And step taxiing is basically you're allowing the airplane to act like a motorboat. And I'm not going very fast, probably about 10-15 knots. But you can maneuver from one part of the lake to the next without having to fly to it. You can literally just sail your airplane like you would a water vessel on the lake like this, and you have all the fun in the world. You can go from one place to the next just by utilizing your seaplane. And it's one of the great advantages of having a float plane license or a seaplane license, being able to maneuver a seaplane like this to different parts of the lake and just having fun. You know, at this point you're actually on the laws of the Coast Guard, because you're actually, considered, I would think, a maritime vessel of some kind. But in any event, this is what you can do. This is called step taxiing. You can go a little bit faster too. And you can also make sharp turns. Give an example like this. Make a sharp turn, just like a regular racing boat, like a regular motorboat. It's an enormous amount of fun. And I got my seaplane rating. We did this on Lake Washington. That's the wake that I just created that I'm going over right now, just like you would in a real boat. And there's the skyline of Seattle. There's Space Needles over there to our right. And on the right hand side is Elliott Bay. And beautiful Seattle. Nice summer day here. The water's nice and glassy and calm. Although glassy water with a seaplane is actually kind of a problem, because you lose your sense of depth perception when you come in for a landing. But right now it's very smooth. And we're going to take off here in a second, and I'll show you what it's like to fly the airplane with the 400 pounds of pontoons underneath it, and land it right here back at Lake Union in a few minutes. Another good thing about when you fly a float plane, you can literally create 360 different runways, because you're always supposed to take off into the wind, and depending upon where you are on the lake or on the body of water, you can get the best advantage of the most headwind possible by literally creating your own runway. So for example, if the wind was coming from that direction where the buildings were, I would go onto the other side of the lake and climb directly over those buildings. But today, let's assume the wind is coming from the other direction, and we're going to turn around here as if this was a invisible water runway, and we're going to get ourselves in position to take off. So on a seaplane, you have to do a couple things that you normally wouldn't do on a regular conventional airplane. First of all, on a 172 on takeoff, on a normal 172, you don't use flaps. The reason for that is that you need to have as much lift as possible, because you have so much drag underneath you with these pontoons, as you'll see here in a second. The other thing too, if you have landing gear installed, believe it or not, some float planes do have landing gear underneath their pontoons. Got to make sure that the landing gear is up for takeoff as opposed to down for takeoff. Alright, so the idea here is to pull the wheel back and get the airplane on a step. So if you look at the diagram here that I'll supply you, this is what the pontoon looks like on the side. The front part is curved like a bow of a boat, and that bottom part there that edges up towards the middle of the pontoon is called a step. You want to kind of get on that smooth concave type area, get ourselves streamlined, and then we'll be able to let the airplane just lift off the water on its own. But it requires patience, back pressure. This is not going to be a performance queen. This is a very slow airplane, and let's take off and let's see what we can do. So the idea is to kind of give it a little bit of back pressure right from the very beginning. Those little bumps, of course, is the waves. the little ripples of the waves. Perfectly normal. Pull a little bit more back pressure, get on the step. And we're slowly getting airborne. Here we go. The nose down a little bit to get back, give it a little bit more airspeed.
Gears up for water landing.
So we're about 300 feet right now. We're going to try to climb up to about 700, maybe 800 feet. Flaps up. Make sure you trim the airplane. Keep an eye on your airspeed. Remember, you got a lot of drag underneath you. So we're going to make like a crosswind departure and turn downwind. We're going to do a big pattern right over the lake. One thing about the 172, it's such a stable aircraft, even with these heavy pontoons below it, it still has decent performance. So we're going to level off at about 800 feet here. Power back just a tad. And level off. And there's Lake Union. We're going to be making another left turn here in a second. We're going to land right back on that same lake. Okay, nose down. Okay, so we're turning left base right over the Space Needle. And we got up a little bit higher. I wanted to go just a little bit higher. And I'm going to pull the power back. And had 20 degrees of flaps. And we're going to start going down. Right there in between these buildings. Going a little bit fast. A little bit fast. Pull the power, pull the nose up a little bit. Here we go. 400 feet. Power back. And then just let the airplane just settle onto the water. 250 feet. Pull that wheel back 100 feet. There we go. And once you hit the water, maintain back pressure.
Gears up for water landing.
And that's it. Here we are.
For water landing.
One thing good about a seaplane, it doesn't take a lot of runway like you would in a normal airplane.
Gears up for water
Once you get on the water, you're pretty much...
Gears up for water landing.
Once you get on the water, you stop pretty fast. Once the pontoons create friction with the water, this thing stops really quickly, slows down really quickly. That was my own little demonstration of a seaplane flight, but nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed that little introduction to float plane flying here in Seattle in beautiful Lake Union. If you are getting your pilot's license and you're trying to get different ratings, by all means, if you can, get your seaplane rating. It is an incredibly wonderful thing to have. It's a lot of fun. Family, friends, you can take them out all day long in a seaplane like this and just have the greatest time. So, okay, thanks again for watching Wheelchair Ride, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of 4 airplanes. I'm hoping to get into these airplanes, the real ones, here in the next month or so. First of all, with the 172, get myself checked out with a flight instructor so I can be able to fly alone again. And then work my way into the Bonanza, into the turboprop, and then start becoming a safety pilot for different people here in Washington State and the Seattle area. So again, thanks again for watching Realtor Riders. If you guys like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next ride. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you and enjoy your flight.